Hello, and welcome to the YMCA San Francisco's Classroom for All. My name is Justin, and today we are going to be learning how to divide decimals. So please feel free to watch and follow along, or you can just watch and try this on your own later. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Like I said before, we are going to be dividing decimals. Before we do that, I want you to understand what happens to a number when you divide it by a decimal. So to begin, I want to practice doing divide by blocks. So first, let me show you how to divide by blocks, and we're going to do that by using numbers that are not decimals, but it will make sense once I get there. So this is 1 divided by 6. And I want you to think about what it actually means to divide 6 by 1. So the way I think about it is when I'm dividing 6 by 1, I'm trying to see how many times 1 can fit into 6. So what I'm going to do is draw 6 boxes. Okay, so these 6 boxes are going to represent my 6. Now let me draw one blue box, and this is going to represent my 1. So now my question is to you, how many times will my 1 box fit into these 6 boxes? And I'm sure you're going to know the answer real quick. Very easy, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our blue box can fit into these 6 boxes 6 times. So 6 divided by 1 is going to be 6. Perfect. So that's how you divide by blocks. And as you can see, when we divide by 1, it's going to give you the same answer. So let's go ahead and do the same problem, but instead of using 1, let's use 0.5. So I'm going to go ahead and erase my blue box, erase my 1, erase my 6. OK, perfect. So instead of 1, I'm going to do 0.5. OK, so same thing. I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes that represent my 6. Now let me draw a half a box to represent my 0.5. So 0.5 is equivalent to 1/2. So if this is a whole box, my half box is going to be that. There we go. So now my question is, how many times is my half box going to fit into my 6 full boxes? Well, let me show you how to figure it out. So if this is a half box, let's break all of our whole boxes into halves. OK, perfect. So as you can see, this is the same as this and this. So we're going to go ahead and count all our half boxes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, wow, look at that. Instead of equaling 6, it now equals 12. So when we divide by fractions, and it's just the fraction, no number in front of it, just the decimal, no number in front of it, our number is going to be larger. OK. So I just wanted to cover that very quickly, because I do think that understanding the concepts of dividing by decimals is going to be helpful when we go more in depth later. But let's actually do that right now. So we're going to start by doing some long division. And we're going to divide 6 by 0.5. So we're going to do the same problem, except I'm going to show you how to do it mathematically. So this box method is helpful for teaching, but it's not very practical for the real world. It takes quite a bit of time, and there's a lot of numbers that don't fit in quite as nicely as 0.5. OK. Make sure my board is nice and dry. OK, I think we are good to go. So how we are going to set up this problem is going to be just like a normal long division problem. So we're going to have 0.5 in front, draw our box, and put 6 in the middle. But this is where it's going to differ. So we're going to take, or I like to take a different color pen so that you can see the difference. But we want to make our 0.5 into a whole number. So what we're going to do is we're going to move our decimal from in front of it into the back. So that went from 0.5 to 5. So since we did that, we actually have to do it to the 6 also. So we went from 0.5 to 5, so we're going to go for where the decimal is on the 6, and we're going to move it back 1, add a 0. So we went from 6 to 60. So essentially what we did, we multiplied 0.5 by 10. So we had to do the same to the 6 to make it 60. But you don't need to know that. Just know that if you move the decimal in the front by 1, you got to do the same in the back. So we moved 1 here, got to move 1 there. OK. And now this is just as easy as doing a normal long division problem. How many times does 5 go into 6? I'm going to say 1 time as 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. Bring down the 0. 10. 5 divided by 10 is going to be 2. 10s cancel out. Oh, and there it is. Our answer is 12, the same as our box method. So this is how you're going to do decimals with long division. But now let's move on to a little bit more difficult problem. So this next problem is going to be a larger number, a large whole number divided by a decimal. So let me go ahead and erase all of this. So for our next problem, we're going to do 56 divided by 1.25. OK. So as I said before, set it up just like a normal long division problem. 1.25 in the front, draw our box, 56 inside. OK, but this is where it differs. We need to move our decimal places to make our number in the front into a whole number. So this time we're going to go 1, 2. Since we moved 2 in the front, we got to move 2 in the back. 1, 2. So now we're doing 125 divided by 5600. I think an important thing to note, the reason we start behind the 6 for this number is because that's where the decimal is. We don't write the decimal because it's a whole number, but it would be right here. So you move the decimal back 2 places, so 1, 2. So let's go ahead and work through this very quickly. 125 goes into 560 4 times as 500. Subtract, leftover is 60, bring down the 0. How many times does it go into 600? It's going to be 4 times again at 500. OK, now we have 1,000. How many times does 125 go into 1,000? And that's going to be 8 times. Perfect. And our answer is going to be 44.8. And I'm sorry because I actually skipped this. So when we add a 0 at the end, because 125 can't go into, let's rewind. So before I put on the 0.8, let's go back to this step. So I did 600 minus 500 leaves me with 100. Since 125 can't go into 100, we actually need to add a 0. But when we add a 0, we have to put a decimal point up on top. So if I want to add a 0 here, a decimal needs to go up here. So as soon as I add this next 0, a decimal is going to go in our answer. So add a 0 there, put a decimal up here, bring it down. So can 125 go into 1,000? Yes, it can, and it's going to be 8. So 56 divided by 1.25 is going to be 44.8. OK, I think we have one more problem, and that's going to be a decimal divided by a decimal. It's going to be really quick. We'll get that done, and you guys can skedaddle out of here. OK. OK, so for our last problem, we're going to do 33.3 divided by 3.7. OK, perfect. So this is a problem we haven't encountered yet. This problem has a decimal in the front and in the back. So both of our numbers have decimals in them. But as always, let's just set this up as a normal long division problem. So there's 3.7, and what is it, 33.3. OK. So as always, we need to look at our numerator first. So this is the number in the front. We want to make 3.7 into a whole number. So to turn 3.7 into 37, we are going to move its decimal point up 1 spot. So that just went from 3.7 to 37. But since we moved the decimal in the front, we got to move it in the back. But luckily enough, this one already has a decimal. So we know we're going to go from here and there. So we went from 33 to 303. Sorry, 33.3 to 333. So yeah, we moved one decimal in the front, got to move one decimal in the back. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and divide. Okay, well, the answer is going to be 9. So 37 times 9 is going to be 333. You're just going to have to trust me on that. But yeah, so as you can see, we just have 9 up here. So 3.3 divided by 3.7 is going to be 9. Okay, and I think we're going to call it there. So thank you so much for joining me, learning how to divide decimals. Please join us at YMCASF.org/classrooms4all for more fun classes, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Did you know that YMCA of San Francisco never closed? When shelter-in-place happened, we could no longer provide in-person programming. We quickly shifted to provide youth and family programming virtually. As early as April, we started providing on-demand activities in our YMCA of San Francisco YouTube channel.
For this video, we're going to be making a geodesic dome.
Today, we're going to be making a hovercraft. The science around this activity is really awesome.
In addition, we have a regular schedule of activities for our youth and families to join live. We feature read-alouds, yoga, family Zumba, arts and crafts, drawing clubs, and more. So don't miss out on our virtual youth and family offerings. Visit www.ymcasf.org for more info and class schedules.